Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. You're not watching this video by chance. This moment you're experiencing here and now could be an invisible turning point in your life. There are moments when Allah speaks to you, not with words, but with silences, inner shocks, events you didn't understand at the time, but which were sent as warnings. The fact that you're here, listening, may be the last reminder before a change you can no longer avoid. Have you ever felt like something was wrong, but you couldn't explain it? Like life was slowing down? Like blessings were blocking? Like your heart was screaming for something, but you couldn't hear it? It's not random. It's not tiredness. It's a divine message, a spiritual signal, a warning from Allah. He didn't come to scare you. He came to wake you up. Perhaps you're in a phase where you can't move forward. You pray, but you feel nothing. You ask, but the answers don't come. You're surrounded, but you feel alone. What if this emptiness, this stagnation, this silence was a warning from heaven? A warning that your soul has heard, but your heart still refuses to understand. Sometimes Allah doesn't shout. He withdraws. He turns off. He interrupts. He isolates. Not to abandon you, but to prevent you from destroying yourself. What you call a blockage may actually be a door that your Creator closes with His own hands to prevent you from entering a trap. And you continue to knock, to insist, to cry in front of a door that will never open. Because Allah wants to take you elsewhere. Today, He's calling you, and His call is clear. Come back to me before it is too late. Listen to my call. Wake up before your destiny eclipses. This is not just advice. This is not just any message. This may be the warning that will save your life. Destiny isn't missed in a single day. It's missed by ignoring the little signals, by turning a blind eye to the signs, by refusing to listen to the inner voice your soul has been crying out to you for weeks, months, maybe years. But Allah is merciful, and if He has brought you here, it is because He has not forgotten you. He still wants you to return. He still wants to entrust you with your mission. He still wants you to taste your true destiny. But are you ready to hear what He has to say to you? There are warnings we ignore without even realizing it. They aren't screams. They aren't noisy catastrophes. They are details. Sudden silences. Doors closing one by one. People walking away without explanation. Opportunities disappearing when they seemed certain. And you look around, lost, without understanding. But your heart has understood. Your soul has sensed that something invisible is happening. It's a warning from Allah, discreet but powerful. You see, Allah does not need to raise His voice. His wisdom lies in subtlety. He always warns. He alerts. He shows. He knocks gently on the door of the heart before knocking harder on that of destiny. And when He sends you a first warning, it is because He wants to spare you a greater evil. It is an act of mercy, not a punishment. But how many times have we closed our eyes, pretended not to hear, preferred carelessness to lucidity, escaped to face with ourselves? When you're in a toxic relationship and everything goes wrong for no reason, maybe it's a sign. When you feel drained after doing things that used to bring you pleasure, maybe it's a sign. When your prayers become mechanical, when you feel a weight you can't explain, when the same trials keep coming back, it's not life repeating itself. This is a divine message awaiting your response. And if you ignore these signs, if you continue to move forward as if nothing is happening, you are taking an immense risk. For each ignored warning pushes you further from your true path. Allah is just, but He is also the one who takes away the light from those who refuse to see. He calls, He warns, then He leaves. And when Allah leaves, it is never a good sign. Have you ever experienced those moments when everything seems to be going against you? When everything stops without explanation? You multiply your efforts, you make supplications, but nothing changes. What if Allah has already spoken to you, but you didn't listen? What if the waiting you are experiencing now is the continuation of a warning ignored in the past? There is great danger in taking Allah's signs lightly, for He sends nothing haphazardly. Every silence, every loss, every sleepless night, every feeling of emptiness, everything is orchestrated to awaken something within you. The heart of the believer is never left without direction, but he must first be willing to listen. And that is where many get lost. Because listening to God's warning requires courage. It requires questioning choices, friendships, habits. It requires letting go of what we thought was good for us. It requires submitting to a wisdom greater than our own. And it's not easy, but it's vital. So ask yourself this question now, deeply, sincerely. What if what you are experiencing is a warning that you are ignoring? You still have time. As long as you breathe, Allah gives you a chance. But every moment spent in blindness takes you further from your own destiny. It's not a matter of luck or misfortune. It's a matter of listening. Those who listen to Allah's warnings are those whom He guides. The rest, He leaves to their own choice. And you, what have you chosen so far? Sometimes, what you lose is exactly what you needed to grow. What you see as a fall is, in reality, a hidden elevation. But how can you know this when your heart is still attached to what Allah is taking from you? How can you understand that what is dying in your life is giving way to a light you do not yet see? You think you are being punished, but in truth, you are being purified. You think that Allah has abandoned you, while He is tearing you away from the things that keep you away from Him. You need to understand one essential thing. Allah never takes anything away without wisdom. He doesn't take away relationships without reason. He doesn't close doors without purpose. He doesn't push you away from places, people, or situations without hiding a future grace. But because you're in the moment, because your heart is still wounded, you don't see the whole picture. You're looking at the wound, not the healing that begins behind it. It is possible that Allah took away that person you thought you loved to prevent you from loving someone more than Him. It is possible that He made you lose that job to remind you that your livelihood depends on no one but Him. It is possible that He placed you in solitude so that you would relearn how to invoke Him, to love Him, to seek Him. Because you had forgotten Him in comfort. And if He took everything away from you, it was not to punish you. It was to free yourself. Free your heart from invisible chains. Free yourself from what paralyzes you. Push you toward the version of yourself you still refuse to become. Because sometimes, it takes a world falling apart for you to finally look up to the sky. The pain is real, but it is directed. It is purposeful. It is noble. What you feel is hard, but it is not in vain. It is an elevation through trial. Allah puts His servants through phases of purification. He cuts, He empties, He cleanses, so that you can finally receive Him into your heart without rival, without distraction, without compromise. And that is the purest divine love that exists. You ask Allah for elevation. You want to succeed. You want to experience a better, richer, more stable life. But have you considered that to ascend, you sometimes have to lose weight? To soar toward your destiny, Allah must detach you from what weighs you down. And sometimes it's people, habits, sins, or even limiting thoughts. You can't fly with chains on your feet. And if you do not understand this wisdom, you may find yourself fighting against the hand that is saving you. You may find yourself praying to regain what Allah has mercifully taken from you. You may find yourself clinging to what was slowly extinguishing you. Do not ask Allah to rebuild what He Himself destroyed for your good. What if this loss was your elevator to a higher version of yourself? What if, in this solitude, in this absence, in this rupture, you were finding what you had lost? Your faith, your peace, your heart. Perhaps what you are experiencing is not a punishment, but a preparation. And Allah always prepares His servants before entrusting them with something great. He empties them to fill them. He breaks them to rebuild them. He makes them pass through darkness so that they will know how to recognize the light when it comes. So, do not struggle with what Allah is doing in you. Do not weep for what He has taken away. Weep rather for all the time you forgot Him. And thank Him. Thank Him, even in pain. For if you knew what He is taking away from you, you would fall into prostration of gratitude, even in tears. There are blessings you've been asking for a long time. Invocations you repeat with sincerity. Buried dreams you hope will come true. But despite all your efforts, despite your prayers, despite your patience, nothing changes. The silence persists. The blockages continue. So you wonder why? Why doesn't Allah answer you? Why does your destiny seem fixed? What if it's not Allah who's delaying? Do you hold back your own progress because of certain unconscious errors? There are mistakes we trivialize, behaviors we repeat without questioning, words we say without measuring their impact. And little by little, these things we consider details become real, spiritual locks. They close the doors that Allah had prepared for you. They block the paths of your destiny. Perhaps you are living with resentment. You say you have forgiven, but your heart is still weighed down by anger. You want Allah to elevate you, but you refuse to free others from your judgment. And how can you hope to receive divine forgiveness if you are unable to forgive Allah's creatures? A resentful heart is a closed heart, and Allah does not pour His light into a vessel already filled with shadow. Perhaps you also continue to associate with those who extinguish your faith. Friends who distract you from prayer. Forbidden relationships. Distractions that steal your time and energy. You ask Allah for guidance, but you refuse to leave the paths of error. You want to move forward, but you refuse to let go of what binds you. This is not compatible, and until you take action, nothing will change. What if the greatest mistake were forgetting Allah in small gestures? You eat, you work, you live, without mentioning His name, without sincere intention. You pray, but your heart is absent. You fast, but your gaze and your tongue continue to sin. You say, Insha'Allah, but you do not seriously prepare for what you are asking for. It is not the quantity of your actions that matters, but their sincerity. It is time to look within yourself honestly, to take stock, without excuses, without justification. Ask yourself these questions seriously. What habits distance me from Allah? What words do I repeat without thinking? What actions do I consider normal, but which in truth lock me into spiritual mediocrity? Because one cannot hope for a blessed destiny by living a neglected daily life. Allah is generous. He never closes doors without warning. But He is waiting for you to take the first step, to show that you are ready, to cleanse your heart, to correct your behavior, to abandon what offends Him. And then you will see that what you thought was blocked was actually only waiting for your sincere return. You're not too far gone to come back. You're not too late to change. Even if you've made the same mistakes 1,000 times, Allah can turn over a new leaf for you, provided you're willing to put everything down, rethink everything, purify everything. Your destiny is not dead. It's waiting for you to earn it. What if, instead of asking again, you started by getting rid of what is preventing you from receiving? What if, instead of seeking what you want, you eliminated what Allah hates? Because sometimes the problem isn't what you don't have, but what you refuse to let go of. There are times when everything seems silent. No sign, no clear answer. You pray, you cry, you ask, but the sky seems closed. You look around you and everything remains frozen. You may be thinking, why isn't Allah speaking to me? Why isn't He sending me a strong sign, something obvious, a miracle that proves I'm on the right path? And yet, you don't realize that silence is sometimes the deepest language of Allah. Allah does not always speak the way you would like Him to speak. He does not raise His voice, He does not shout, He does not impose Himself. He whispers in your soul. He leaves imprints on your thoughts. He places intuitions in your heart. He shapes your feelings. He subtly guides your gaze toward what you would have ignored yesterday. You want proof, so He awakens you with shivers, sudden reminders, a strange peace, in a simple prayer, an unexpected tear upon hearing a verse. It is in those moments when you stop that you hear. It is in those silences when you give up control that you understand. For Allah does not manifest in the din of distraction, nor in the tumult of the ego. It manifests itself in the sincerity of interiority. And to hear it, we must learn to be silent. To silence our fears, our doubts, the noises of the world. To become available, vulnerable, open again. Sometimes, Allah speaks to you through a fatigue you are unaware of, through a blockage you don't understand. He shows you that you are in the wrong place by closing all the exits. He protects you from an evil that you wanted to believe was good. He slows down your project because it would turn you away from Him. You think He is not listening to you when He is responding differently, more subtly, more profoundly than you imagine. What if that strange feeling you get every time you make a mistake was His voice warning you? What if that inexplicable relief in prayer was Him saying, I'm here? What if that reminder you overhear, that verse you hear 1,000 times, that sermon that suddenly hits you, were disguised answers? Allah never stops speaking to His servants. It is we who have forgotten how to listen. Do you want to hear Allah? Then purify your heart. For the heart is the true ear of the soul. It is not with your hearing that you will understand the message. It is with your inner light. If your heart is filled with doubts, haste, anger, sins, you will only hear the noise of your passions. But if you calm it, if you sincerely direct it towards Him, you will see. Everything will become clear. Every moment will take on meaning. Every silence will become a message. Allah's silence is never a sign of abandonment. It is a call to dig deeper, to change the way you listen, to rise above the surface and dive into the ocean of faith. Never disregard the small signs, the intuitions, the gentle stirrings in your soul. For Allah guides with subtlety, and those who pay attention to gentleness are those who manage to walk in the right direction, even without understanding it right away. Don't always seek the spectacular. Seek the authentic. That moment when you find yourself alone, sincere, broken before your Lord, and you feel a peace that doesn't come from the world. That is where His voice resides. Not in the noise, but in the inner evidence. Sometimes life speaks to you loudly, but it is not life itself. It is Allah, through circumstances, who seeks to awaken your sleeping heart. It is not always a misfortune nor a punishment. It is a divine warning, a sign that you are moving away from the light without even realizing it. A powerful, clear reminder, but one that few take seriously. Because recognizing a warning from Allah requires humility, perspective, and a sincere desire to see beyond appearances. You know it's no coincidence. You feel it. Something is bothering you, calling you, calling you. You're comfortable on the outside, but your heart is restless. You're surrounded by people, but you feel alone. You have what you wanted, but it doesn't fulfill you. You feel an emptiness that nothing can fill. And this emptiness is what Allah shows you. He's letting you know that you're moving in a direction that's not yours. He's trying to save you before you stray further. A warning from Allah is often an event that disarms you. You lose something you valued, a relationship, an opportunity, a dream. You experience disappointment, a fall, a misunderstanding. And at the time, you think it's a punishment. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it is a merciful correction. Allah cuts off something to preserve your soul. He shows you that your attachment was becoming a prison. He removes an apparent good to reconnect you with what is essential. Sometimes a harsh reminder arises in your daily life. A sudden illness, a narrowly avoided accident, a word that shakes you, a verse that resonates like never before. And then, something changes inside. It's not fear. It's deeper. It is a painful lucidity. You know you need to stop certain behaviors. You know you need to resume prayer, abandon that relationship, cut off that sin. You know, but you pretend not to know. So Allah insists. And the more you ignore, the more He increases the reminders. Not out of cruelty, but because He loves you. He sends you several chances, alerts, words heard on the radio, videos you didn't seek out, advice from people you never listened to. And if you continue to ignore, He may withdraw His protection. Not because He abandons you, but because you choose to walk alone. And that's where the pain becomes greater. A warning from Allah isn't like a voice from the sky. It's like an inner unease that nothing can soothe until you return to Him. It's like a constant dissatisfaction, a repetition of strange trials, a feeling that something is wrong. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And if you take the time to sit down, to listen to your soul, you will understand that this is not a coincidence. It is a spiritual SOS. Recognizing a warning from Allah means accepting that you must change. It's not always pleasant. It's not always easy. But it's the greatest gift He can give you, to warn you before it's too late. Wake up before you fall. Fix yourself before your loss. Never trivialize a deep discomfort. Never minimize a reminder that keeps coming back. It may be your salvation. It may be your destiny, waiting for you to finally open your eyes.